Hello, this is me, Miss Ale. I'm your English teacher, and today we will be revising what we took this week. This week we took instructions, and we mainly worked on our English booklet. I hope all of you have it. So this week we started taking what are instructions, and we started to discuss what are the features of instructions, and if I'm writing an instructions text, what should I bear in mind when I start reading. So let's start and have a revision on everything we took this week. First of all, what are instructions? Instructions are written for someone who needs to know how to do something. So if I want to know how to do anything or to make anything, I should search for an instructions text to help me. Okay, for example, this girl here, maybe someone asked her uh, to make something, to make a sandwich, to clean her room. So she will be writing an instruction text for her friends so that they know exactly what are the steps they should follow to achieve or do whatever they want. So let's take some examples. For example, we use instructions when we're talking about recipes. Recipes are things or the instructions I'm using or following that can make me make a dish or cook something. For example, if I can make my own sandwich, I have to go online and search a recipe for how to make a sandwich. Or, for example, if your friends are coming over for dinner and you want to cook a grilled chicken, so all you have to do is write a recipe for grilled chicken, and you'll have to follow these instructions so that you can make this recipe. Number two, how to play a game. For example, first of all, remember if when we were in class we took an example which is Sudoku game. So there's a game called Sudoku, which is a very famous game, and it's a bit hard. So some of us maybe sometimes can get online on Google and start writing how can I play Sudoku. So it can be followed by the steps that I can follow to learn how to play Sudoku. Or for example, if someone is playing hide and seek for the first time, you can go online and ask, "How can I play hide and seek?" And you will find the steps that can help you play hide and seek. Or when I want to know how to make anything, for example, like here this boy who is cutting a pumpkin, he's making a jack-o'-lantern, the famous Halloween decoration. So if I don't know how to do it or how to cut it in a nice way, all I have to do is go online and search for how to make a jack-o'-lantern, or how to make a sandwich, or how, for example, how can I clean my room, like the one text we took this week. Okay, first let's know what are the features of instructions text. This is a very important thing. We need to know them many times, we need to remember them many times, and I don't want you to forget that your homework for this week is to write them in your copybook in a very nice handwriting. Number one, passive verbs, or they can be also called imperative verbs. They are the verbs used to give orders. Number two, a title. We need to write a title in the middle of the text that tells us what we are doing or what is this text about. Number three, subtitles. Subtitles are what we need and what to do. They're like small titles that we put in the text that help us know what we are doing. Number four, numbered steps. So we have to write our steps numbered so we cannot start writing them without putting a number before them so that we can know in which step are we, or are we following the steps correctly. Number five, bullet points, and they're like small points that we put before writing the things we need. And take care, they always must be followed by a small letter. Okay, now let's know how to write instructions, or what are the things that we need to keep in mind when we write instructions. Number one, we need to start with a title, and each word must start with a capital letter. Number two, use imperative verbs, which sometimes we call bossy verbs. Write subtitles, what we need and what to do. Use sequence words, and we will get to this later. We took them last week and we found them in the last video, but we will revise them again now. Number 5, we need to write clear steps. What's the meaning of clear steps? Clear steps are steps that can be easily followed. They are not like very long, so when someone reads your steps get confused. No, your steps needs to be not very short and not very long, so it confuse people. So you need to write them in a very clear way, and always keep in mind that the person who's reading this instruction doesn't know how to make this thing. So that's why he is reading this instruction text to know how to make this thing. Okay, now let's see without instruction text how it looks like. Okay, this is how we can find them. Yes, okay. For example, the first thing we'll find is the title at the middle. It must be written in capital letters, as you see here. And the next thing we're having is subtitle 1 and subtitle 2. And then we will be having here bullet points. And as I said before, they must be followed by small letters, not capital letters. And here we'll be finding some numbers. The steps start with a capital letter, and don't forget, after the number we put sequence word. And the most important thing, and it's a common mistake for all of you, is sometimes you forget that we must put a comma after sequence word. Just when we write sequence word, the first thing we have to write is a bossy verb. We need to start giving the order for the person who wants to follow those instructions. And here we have the numbered steps, and at the end of each and every instruction we need to put a full stop. Now let's check sequence words. As I said for you, that those we took them last week, but now we are just revising them. So when we start reading or start writing instructions, we can be very careful. So we divided them into 3 sections: sequence words that we use at the beginning, sequence word that we use in the middle, and sequence word that we use at the end. For example, sequence word that we use at the beginning can be first, at first, or firstly. I don't need to use all of them, I just only need to use one. Okay, miss, so why do we give us a lot of examples? Because maybe if I'm writing, I forgot the sequence word at first, or I forgot the sequence word firstly. So I always remember one of them, which is first. So this can give you many options, so when you start writing, you're not confused. The second type is the middle sequence words, and those are the ones that are not the steps, which are not the first step and not the last step. So second, this usually comes for the second step, and then after that, afterwards. Those are sequence words for the middle. You can change the order of them as much as you want, as much as you like. Ending. The ending is the last step. I have here 4 sequence words. That doesn't mean we need to use all of them. We can only use one of them. But if I forget one of them, I can use like any one I have in my mind. They all have the same meaning. For example, finally, at the end, at last, and lastly. I want you to take care. What's the thing that you noticed when I write sequence words? Excellent job. I didn't forget putting a comma after each and every sequence word. So when you start writing, you must keep in mind that we always have to write sequence word followed by a comma. Now that's an example that I want you to read with me. This is an example on how to plant a sunflower seed. I want you to look at the title. The title here is every word written in capital letter. And this is the most important thing. And then we have here on the left what you need, which is the first thing we need to write, the first subtitle we need to write. What you need, and here we'll be finding the things that anyone who reads the text who read this text and who wants to follow on how to plant a sunflower seed must have those things before he starts following the steps. So number 1, a small pot, soil, seeds, watering can, and water. Keep in mind that I use bullet points here, so As we said before, bullet points are followed by small letters. So we find a small pot, the A is small. And soil, the S is small. Seeds, the S is small. Watering can, the W is small. And water, the W is small. Okay, the next thing we need to take care of is what you do. Here we're having numbers, but I don't know why they are not written here, but we can write them easily. So number 1, first fill the pot with some soil to just below the top. Then add a little water to the soil. What do you think? What do you have here? We start with a sequence word, and it's followed by a comma, and then we have a bossy verb. Okay. Step number 3. Next, carefully put 1 or 2 seeds onto the soil. Step number 4. After that, cover the seeds with little more soil. So we need to cover it with soil. We need it not to be on the surface of the pot. It needs to be in the middle. And finally, pour more water onto the soil so that we can be watering it. Take care, if you want to plant a sunflower seed, you need to water it daily and keep it under the sunlight. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you have any question, you can always reach out to us. Thank you so much. Have a nice weekend.